Stay calm, take control. That's how you win in life. That's the rule. And it works every time. When you lose your calm, you lose your power. You stop thinking clearly. You say things you didn't mean. You do things that hurt your progress, and then later, you sit back and ask yourself, why did I let that get to me? You see, life is full of pressure. People will test you. Problems will show up when you least expect them. But if you don't learn how to stay calm, you'll always be reacting. You'll always be tired. You'll always be off track. Winners do it differently. They slow down, they breathe, they stay steady when everything feels like it's falling apart. That's what this video is about, teaching you how to take back control when life pushes you hard. Because when you stay calm, you don't just feel better, you make better decisions, and that's how you start winning. For real, number one, take a breath and don't let pressure control you. That one simple action can change how you respond to life. Most people never slow down long enough to take control of what's happening inside them. They let the pressure build, they let the noise in, and they react without thinking. And when you live like that, life doesn't feel like something you're leading. It feels like something you're surviving. But the truth is, real strength shows up when you slow down. Real control starts with a pause. That pause is the difference between regret and results. When pressure hits you, it's not just about what's happening around you. It's about what starts happening inside your mind. Your chest tightens, your heart races, your thoughts get scrambled, and if you're not careful, you'll speak too soon. You'll act without thinking. You'll destroy peace in a second that took you years to build. Pressure wants to rush you, but wisdom slows you down. You don't win in life by being the loudest. You don't win by reacting first. You win by learning how to stop, breathe, and own the moment before the moment owns you. That's what it means to stay calm. Not emotionless, not passive. Calm, collected, clear. That's power. When your emotions rise and pressure tries to push you around, that's when your real training begins. That's where your discipline is tested. You have to notice when your breathing speeds up. You have to catch your voice before it turns sharp. You have to pay attention to how your body reacts, how your jaw tightens, how your hands clench, how your thoughts start speeding and skipping. You can't fix it if you don't notice it. And most people don't. They just let it happen and deal with the damage later. But not you. You're here to take control of your responses, because that's how you win. Most people are stuck in the habit of reacting. Something goes wrong, they shout. Someone criticizes them, they snap. The day doesn't go their way, they give up. That's not strength. That's giving power to the pressure. And once the pressure knows it can control you, it will keep coming. It will own your mornings, it will own your relationships, it will own your work, until one day you forget what peace feels like and you think chaos is normal. And you think, but you don't have to live that way. You can take a breath before you speak. You can take a breath before you decide. You can take a breath before you explode. That one breath gives you something most people never have: clarity. With clarity comes better judgment. With better judgment comes better decisions, and better decisions build a better life. One breath doesn't seem like much, but in a critical moment, it's everything. Pressure is part of life. It's not going away, but it doesn't have to break you. It doesn't have to control you. You can learn to feel it and not fold. You can learn to sit with it and not rush. That's a skill. It's a habit. It's something you practice. And the more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. You start to notice the same problems don't shake you anymore. You don't lose sleep over things that used to ruin your whole week. That's not because life got easier. It's because you got stronger. People think strength is about pushing through everything fast. But real strength is the ability to slow things down when everything wants to speed up. It's staying calm when you have every reason to panic. It's saying no when your emotions are screaming yes. It's walking away when your pride wants to fight. It's choosing peace even when chaos feels easier. That's not weakness. That's maturity. That's control. And control is what separates those who grow from those who keep breaking. Every time you stay calm in pressure, you are taking back your power. You are rewiring how your mind responds to the world. You're not just reacting like you used to. You're deciding. You're choosing. And those choices add up. The truth is, most of your regrets won't come from calm decisions. They'll come from pressure-based reactions. The harsh words you said in anger, the opportunity you walked away from too fast, the relationship you hurt because you couldn't pause, the day you ruined because you let stress take over your thinking. That's what pressure does. It rushes you into moments that feel right now, but feel wrong later. But if you train yourself to pause, to breathe, to stay calm, you give yourself the gift of fewer regret. You give yourself the chance to think clearly, feel fully, and act wisely. Now, some people will tell you, just stay calm, like it's something that happens instantly. It doesn't. It takes practice. It takes awareness. It takes catching yourself in the middle of the emotion and pulling yourself back. Sometimes you'll fail. You'll snap. You'll say something you didn't want to say. But even that is part of the process. What matters is that you keep training your mind to pause. Keep learning your patterns. Keep growing past the things that used to control you. Staying calm is not about pretending you don't feel things. It's about feeling things deeply and still staying in control. It's about having an intense moment and still choosing your response. It's about being in the storm and not becoming the storm. That's not something you learn in a book. That's something you develop through daily awareness. And every time you get it right, even a little, you're building something powerful inside you. That power will follow you into every part of your life, your career, your health, your relationships, your goals. If you want to win in life, you have to take your emotions seriously. You can't ignore them. You can't fake control. You have to build it. When pressure rises, your body speaks to you. It sends signals. Listen to them. Don't ignore the tension. Don't run from the tight chest or the racing heart. Use it as a sign to breathe, to pause, to reset. Your ability to notice pressure is a gift. It's your early warning system. Use it to gain control, not to lose it. And you don't need anyone's permission to stay calm. You don't need people to understand it. You don't need to explain it. You just need to live it. And the more you do, the more you'll notice something powerful. People will start trusting you more. They'll feel safer around you. They'll come to you when they're overwhelmed. Because calm people create space. They bring order. They inspire confidence. And when you become that kind of person, life starts to open up in ways you never saw before. So when the pressure builds, remember, take a breath. It sounds simple, but it's one of the strongest things you can do. That one breath could save your future. That one pause could protect your peace. That one moment of control could change everything. You win in life not by being first to react, but by being first to stay calm. Because the one who stays calm thinks better. The one who thinks better makes better choices. And the one who makes better choices builds a better life. So start today. Practice that pause. Watch how fast your life starts to change. Stay calm. Take control. That's how you win. Number 2, keep your cool when everything tries to break you. When life gets hard, most people fall apart. They lose control when things don't go their way. They start talking out of anger. They start acting without thinking. They break down when things don't feel fair. But here's the truth. Life is not always fair. Life is pressure. Life is pain. Life will test you in ways you didn't expect. And if you don't learn how to keep your cool when everything tries to break you, then life will keep winning. You don't get stronger by being loud. You get stronger by staying calm when your world starts to shake. When people disappoint you, when your plans fall apart, when you're doing everything right and still things go wrong, that's when you have to decide who you are. Not when it's easy, not when you're winning, but when everything is against you and you still refuse to let it break you. That's when your real power shows up. Most people can only function when things feel good, but life doesn't stay good forever. There are going to be days where everything feels unfair. You'll feel misunderstood. You'll be criticized for things you didn't do. You'll work hard and feel like no one sees it. You'll try to hold things together while life keeps throwing more weight on your shoulders. And if you're not careful, that pressure will push you into habits that destroy you. You'll snap at people. You'll isolate yourself. You'll lose focus. You'll think quitting will solve the problem. It won't. The only solution is to control your state of mind when everything else falls apart. Keeping your cool doesn't mean you're not hurt. It doesn't mean you don't feel anything. It means you choose not to let the situation control your behavior. You feel it, but you don't fold. You're angry, but you don't scream. You're sad, but you still show up. You're scared, but you don't run. That is the real battle. It's the battle between your emotions and your actions. When you win that battle, you start to win at life. Your emotions are powerful and they're fast. The moment things go wrong, they want to take over. They want to protect you, but they don't always guide you the right way. If you always follow your emotions, you'll end up in places you never wanted to go. You'll say things you regret. You'll damage relationships you care about. You'll create more pain trying to escape the pain you already feel. But when you pause, when you take control, when you give yourself space before reacting, that's when you start to lead your life instead of just surviving it. The only thing stopping me from accepting the problem was controlling the circumstance. There are going to be moments when someone talks down to you. Moments where you're blamed for things that aren't your fault. Moments where people ignore your efforts. You'll be tempted to react fast. You'll want to prove something. You'll want to say something sharp. But ask yourself, what's the outcome of that? Does it make the situation better? Or does it just give the other person more power over your mind? Keeping your cool is not weakness. It's refusing to give someone else the ability to control your behavior. You win when you stay calm and think clearly. You win when you choose to act based on values, not on frustration. You win when your peace becomes more important than being right. Some arguments are not worth your energy. Some fights are traps. Some responses are better left unsaid. But you only know that if you stay calm long enough to see the full picture. The moment you react emotionally, your vision gets blurry, your judgment gets rushed, your peace gets hijacked, and then you're no longer solving anything. You're just reacting to everything. Keeping your cool is a discipline. It's a skill you build over time. You have to learn what triggers you. You have to study your patterns. You have to know the signs when you're about to break. Is it when people interrupt you? Is it when you feel disrespected? Is it when you feel unseen or unheard? Whatever it is, you have to learn to spot it. Because if you can spot it, you can manage it. But if you ignore it, it will grow until it controls you. You don't get stronger by avoiding problems. You get stronger by facing problems without losing your head. Some of the most important moments in your life will happen when everything feels like it's crashing. It's in those moments that your decisions carry more weight. Your reaction can either fix the issue or make it worse. And the people around you, they're watching. Your family, your team, your friends. They're all looking to see how you handle pressure. Because the one who stays calm when it's hard is the one they trust when it really matters. Think about the times you lost control, the times you raised your voice, the times you shut down, the times you made emotional decisions. Did any of those moments bring peace? Did any of those outbursts make you feel proud the next day? Or did you feel drained, embarrassed, or disappointed with yourself? That's what pressure does. It steals your clarity. It turns temporary problems into permanent damage. But you can stop that cycle by building the habit of staying calm. Start with your body. When pressure hits, your body feels it first. Your heart beats faster. Your muscles tighten. Your stomach turns. You have to notice these signs, and instead of reacting to them, respond with control. Breathe slower. Sit still. Keep your voice steady. Move your body with intention. This is how you train your nervous system to work for you, not against you. Your body can be your enemy or your ally. It all depends on whether you lead it or let it lead you. And remember this, the people who try to break you, they don't win when you walk away. They win when they pull you out of character. They win when they make you act in ways you later regret. That's why calmness is power, because it means no one gets to control your behavior but you. And that's freedom. That's leadership. That's strength. Some days you'll feel like you're holding back a storm. That's okay. What matters is that you hold it. What matters is that you don't let the storm decide your next move. Because the truth is, storms pass, but the damage you caused during one might stay. So protect yourself by staying grounded. Protect your peace by holding back when every part of you wants to explode. You can't control everything that happens, but you can control what happens next. You can control what you say, what you do, what energy you bring into the room. That's not something people are born with. That's something you practice daily. Start small. Notice the small things that used to trigger you. That annoying tone, that delayed response, that disrespectful look. Learn to let it pass without breaking. Learn to keep your tone even when others raise theirs. That's how you start winning silently. You don't always have to prove your strength. Sometimes the strongest person is the one who says nothing, breathes deep, and walks with calm authority. You don't need chaos to prove you care. You don't need drama to feel alive. What you need is stability, self-respect, control. And those things grow stronger every time you choose calm over chaos. Every time you step back instead of lashing out. Every time you choose to protect your peace instead of reacting to the world. This is how real progress is made. You build a mind that doesn't crumble. You build a heart that doesn't panic. You build habits that help you lead, not follow the chaos. You train yourself to stay calm even when life is shouting. And when that becomes your normal, life starts responding differently to you. People respect you more. Challenges feel less overwhelming. Decisions become clearer. You stop surviving and start leading. And here's the most important part. This isn't something you do once. It's something you live every day. Because pressure never stops. Problems don't go away, but your ability to face them without breaking, that's what sets you apart. That's what builds your character. That's how you win. So when life comes at you, and it will, keep your cool. When people test your patience, keep your cool. When everything inside you wants to break down, keep your cool. Because that calm presence, that steady mind, that unshaken energy, that's not just how you survive. That's how you lead. That's how you grow. That's how you win in life. Number 3, don't let anger speak for you in hard moments. There are moments in life where everything feels like too much. You feel hurt, you feel rejected, you feel like no one understands what you're carrying, and in those moments, anger feels like the only thing that gives you power. It rises quickly, and it demands to be released. But if you let it speak for you, it will say things you don't mean. It will do things you don't believe in. It will represent a version of you that doesn't think about consequences, only about relief. And once the moment is gone, what's left is regret. The words you can't take back. The damage you can't undo. The people who look at you differently now. Not because of what you felt, but because of how you acted when you were angry. You will face hard moments. That's not a question. They will come. People will frustrate you. Life will test your patience. Circumstances will build pressure. But in those moments, your real character shows, not in what you say when things are easy, but in what you do when everything inside you wants to explode. Anger isn't the problem. Everyone feels it. The problem is giving it the microphone and letting it lead. Because anger doesn't care about your future. It doesn't care about your relationships. It doesn't care about your goals. It only cares about release. And that release comes with a cost. You can be right and still destroy something by saying it the wrong way. You can have a valid reason to be upset and still lose respect by the way you respond. That's what makes anger so dangerous. It blinds you to long-term impact. It makes the short-term feeling seem more important than the long-term result. And if you're not conscious in those moments, you'll act in ways that create more pain than you started with. That's why you need to learn how to pause. Not to suppress what you feel, not to ignore your truth, but to make sure that your response is coming from strength, not from the chaos in the moment. There's a split second before anger takes over. If you can catch it, you can change the direction of everything. You don't have to shout. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to fight to be heard. You need to control the energy inside you. You need to understand that a single reaction, if handled poorly, can take away years of trust. You can't afford that. You've worked too hard to become who you are. You've come too far to throw your peace away because someone triggered you or a situation didn't go your way. The people who keep winning in life aren't the ones who never feel anything. They're the ones who know how to feel fully and still stay in control. They know when to speak and when to stay silent. They know when to walk away and when to lean in calmly. They know that just because they're angry doesn't mean the world needs to feel it. Because once you send that energy out into the world, you can't pull it back. You can apologize, yes, but you can't undo what's been felt. That's why restraint is power, and silence sometimes is a smarter move than shouting to be understood. When life pushes you, it's easy to believe that your anger is justified. And maybe it is. Maybe someone really did wrong you. Maybe you were overlooked. Maybe you were disrespected. But being right doesn't give you a pass to lose control. Being hurt doesn't give you permission to hurt others. What separates maturity from immaturity is the ability to feel deeply and still act wisely. The ability to hurt and still choose words that don't add more pain. The ability to want to react, but instead choose a calm response that serves your bigger goals. You can't build strong relationships if you keep letting anger speak for you. You can't grow your influence, protect your peace, or reach your full potential if your reactions keep sabotaging your progress. Every time you let anger lead, you hand over your power to the moment. And when the moment passes, it leaves you with a mess you have to clean up. But every time you respond from calm, even when you're upset, you build something stronger: credibility, respect, and self-control. There's something powerful about being able to say, "I'm not going to respond right now." That one decision can protect your peace. That one moment of restraint can stop a situation from getting worse. You're not avoiding the issue. You're choosing the right state of mind before facing it. You're choosing clarity over chaos. And that's what intelligent people do. They don't waste energy proving their emotions. They use that energy to create better outcomes. Think about how many situations in your past could have gone differently if you had paused for just 1 minute. How many arguments could have ended faster? How many relationships could have been saved? How many mistakes could have been avoided? That's not weakness. That's strength with direction. That's emotion with awareness. That's what real maturity looks like. You don't need to numb your emotions. You need to know them. You need to understand your own patterns. What makes you feel disrespected? What triggers you to speak without thinking? What situations keep bringing out the worst in you? Because until you understand those things, you'll keep repeating the same reactions in different situations and calling it life. But once you know your triggers, you stop being a victim of them. You take your control back. You stop blaming others for your behavior. And you start taking full ownership of your emotional state. And that ownership changes everything. You begin to lead yourself in every room you enter. You begin to control the energy you bring. People start to trust you more, not because you never get angry, but because they see how you manage yourself when things get tense. They see that you're steady, that you don't break under pressure, that you know how to lead with clarity even when your emotions are on fire. That's powerful. That's the kind of person people want around. So the next time you feel your anger rising, pay attention. That's your chance to grow. That's your signal that you're about to face a test. And the goal isn't to avoid the test. The goal is to pass it, to stay present, to choose your words, to protect your future while honoring your emotions. You don't need to be cold. You don't need to hide your feelings. You need to be clear. You need to stay centered. You need to make decisions that serve your growth, not just your momentary release. Hard moments are part of the process. And yes, they will push you. But anger doesn't have to take over. You have the power to slow your breathing, to check your thoughts, to lower your tone, to wait until the emotion settles and the wisdom rises. And when you build that habit, you won't just feel better. You'll become better. You'll notice that you no longer fear hard conversations. You no longer avoid conflict. You face it with presence and control, because now you don't let anger speak for you. You speak for yourself, from a place of clarity, from a place of strength, from a place that builds the future you actually want to live in. That's the difference between reacting and leading. That's the path to real power. Number 4. Control your mood, or it will control your results. Most people don't realize how much their mood controls their decisions. They think it's just a feeling, something that will pass. But the truth is, your mood affects how you talk to people, how you show up to work, how you treat your responsibilities, how you think, and even how you see yourself. When your mood is off, your focus drops, your energy drops, your standards drop. And if you don't take control of it, it starts making decisions for you. It controls your tone. It changes your actions. It makes you say yes when you mean no. It makes you push people away when you actually need support. It makes you quit things that matter because, in the moment, everything just feels heavy. A bad mood doesn't ruin your day by accident. It ruins your day because it shifts your mind into a pattern that feeds negativity. You stop looking for solutions. You stop caring about effort. You stop doing the things that make you better. And worst of all, you start justifying it. You start telling yourself you're just tired, or the day's just not going right, or people just don't understand. But it's not the world, it's your state of mind. And if you don't catch it early, it becomes your default. You start living from it. And before you know it, your results start slipping. Not because you don't have the ability, but because you let your emotions lead the way. You can't always control how you feel, but you can always decide what you do with those feelings. You can wake up tired and still give effort. You can feel irritated and still speak respectfully. You can be upset and still move forward with discipline. That's the difference between letting your mood decide and choosing your actions, no matter what. And the people who win consistently are the ones who don't wait to feel good before they act. They understand that emotions are real, but not always right. And just because something feels heavy doesn't mean it deserves to take over their day. There are going to be days where you just don't feel it. You won't feel motivated. You won't feel focused. You won't feel strong. But those days matter more than the easy ones. Those are the days that test your mindset, that reveal what kind of standard you've really set for yourself. Because when you keep your habits even on the low energy days, you prove to yourself that you're in control. Not your mood, not your emotions, not the weather, not someone else's attitude. You. That's how you build inner strength. You have to be aware of how quickly a mood can take over. One small frustration in the morning can follow you the whole day if you don't reset. One argument, one unexpected setback, one small comment from someone can flip your mindset and take away your energy, if you let it. But you have the ability to step back, to recognize when your attitude is shifting, to choose a different response, That takes awareness. That takes maturity. But it's a skill anyone can develop. And if you care about your growth, you have to make that skill a priority. Your results are connected to how consistent you are. And your consistency depends on how well you manage your mental state. If you only work when you feel like it, your results will always be unstable. If you only show up when your mood is perfect, you'll never build the kind of life that lasts. Because progress doesn't wait for your feelings. Growth doesn't ask if you're in the mood. It responds to your actions. And that's why your mood can't be the driver. It can't be the thing that decides how your day goes. Some people wake up and check their mood before they check their goals. That's the wrong order. Your goals are your direction. Your mood is just weather. It will change. It will pass. But if you let it drive your actions, you'll keep stopping and starting. You'll stay in the same place while blaming your emotions for the delay. And the truth is, most people don't even notice that their mood is running their life until they start seeing the results slip away. They lose momentum. They stop getting better. They wonder what happened. It wasn't their skills. It wasn't their environment. It was their ability to manage themselves emotionally. When your mood is low, it whispers excuses. It tells you that today doesn't really matter. That one skipped task won't hurt. That you can start again tomorrow. But tomorrow builds on what you do today. And the habits you skip now become harder to pick up later. Every time you let a bad mood interrupt your consistency, you train your mind to believe that emotions get to decide your discipline. That's dangerous. Because the more you do it, the more you believe it's normal. And that belief kills progress. You have to practice checking in with yourself. Ask simple questions. Is this mood temporary or permanent? Is this emotion helpful right now? Am I acting from purpose or from frustration? Those questions create space between your emotions and your actions. And in that space, you gain control. You can pause. You can reset. You can decide. That's the difference between reaction and responsibility. People who grow take responsibility for how they show up, no matter what they feel. And you don't have to fake anything. This isn't about pretending you feel great when you don't. It's about being honest with yourself and still doing what matters. It's about showing up in a bad mood and choosing discipline anyway. Because those small decisions compound. They build resilience. They train your mind to move forward even when your emotions push against you. And that strength becomes your edge in life. While others are pulled around by their feelings, you stay focused, you stay consistent, you stay effective. Think about what you want in life. The kind of person you want to be. The kind of results you're aiming for. None of that can happen if your mood is in charge. Because moods change with sleep, with food, with stress, with people. But your values, your vision, your standards, those have to stay firm. You can't let a passing emotion take away a permanent goal. You can't let one bad hour destroy your entire day. You have to build mental discipline so strong that even when your emotions shift, your behavior stays aligned with your goals. It won't always be easy. Some days your mind will fight you. You'll feel overwhelmed. You'll feel discouraged. You'll feel like nothing's working. But that's when you lean in. That's when you prove to yourself that your standards are stronger than your mood. That your habits are non-negotiable. That your vision matters more than your feelings in the moment. And the more you do that, the more natural it becomes. You don't wait to feel right. You act right. And the feelings catch up later. This is how you build a strong mind. You stop giving your mood the final say. You stop making decisions based on how you feel right now. You start doing the right thing, even when it's uncomfortable. You start recognizing when your mood is trying to take over, and you step in before it does. That's how you stay in control of your results. That's how you create a life that moves forward, no matter what's happening inside you. And when you master that, everything begins to shift. Because now you're not just driven by emotions. You're driven by purpose. You're not just acting from mood. You're acting from principle. You're not just surviving your feelings. You're leading through them. And that changes how you think, how you speak, how you move, how you live. That's when your results start matching your potential. Not because things got easier, but because you got stronger. So from this day forward,
Take your mood seriously, not as something to obey, but as something to manage. Don't let it lead. Don't let it decide. Recognize it. Respect it. But always return to what matters. Always come back to your purpose. Always act in a way your future self will thank you for. Because when you control your mood, you control your actions. And when you control your actions, you control your results.
Number 5. Stay quiet and make the next move with power. Most people waste their energy trying to explain themselves to the wrong people. They feel this need to defend, to respond, to react. They talk too much in moments where silence would protect them. But staying quiet is not weakness. It's not about holding back your voice. It's about holding back what doesn't need to be said. It's about letting your actions carry the weight, not your words. In life, power doesn't always look loud. Sometimes it looks like self-control. Sometimes it looks like a person who doesn't say much, but never misses a move. When emotions run high, most people speak too soon. They let frustration speak. They let insecurity speak. They say things to prove they're strong, but in the process they give away their control. And once it's out, it can't be taken back. Words can start fights, ruin trust, and destroy focus. That's why silence in the right moment is not just smart, it's necessary. It's a tool. It's a choice. It gives you time to think, to reset, to see the bigger picture before you move. And the move you make from calm will always carry more impact than the move you make from chaos. You don't owe everyone a response. You don't need to react to every opinion. You don't need to defend yourself when people misunderstand you. Some situations don't need your voice. They need your patience. And while the world chases attention and noise, you build real strength by staying centered, by letting others talk while you observe. You use the silence to plan, to prepare, to position yourself better. That's what it means to move with power. You don't rush. You don't panic. You don't seek validation. You focus on the result, not the reaction. There will always be people who try to get a rise out of you. People who challenge your growth. People who misunderstand your silence as weakness. But their opinions aren't your responsibility. Your response is, and that's what separates people who lead from people who react. Leaders don't move because they're triggered. They move because they're ready. They don't speak because they're emotional. They speak when it's time to say something that matters. And when it's not the time, they remain grounded. That's not easy, but it's what builds long-term respect. If you always feel the need to explain yourself, you'll always be distracted. You'll always be pulled away from your goals, spending your energy on conversations that don't move your life forward. That's why silence is so powerful. It protects your focus. It guards your vision. It keeps you connected to what really matters. And while others are caught up in proving things, you're using that time to build, to improve, to evolve. Quiet people often carry the most strength, not because they're passive, but because they're selective. They know when to speak and when to listen, when to act and when to wait. That kind of thinking doesn't just lead to peace, it leads to success. And it's not about being silent forever. It's about staying silent until the move is clear, until the emotion settles, until the energy is calm enough to make a decision from strength. Because decisions made in silence are usually decisions made in strength. They're not rushed. They're not desperate. They're not emotional. They're focused. That's the difference between reacting and responding. One is fast and messy. The other is intentional and powerful. One burns bridges. The other builds results. You don't have to tell people what you're doing. Just do it. You don't need to broadcast your next step. Just take it. And when you do it from a place of clarity, it lands harder. People may not see you coming, but they'll feel it when you move. That's the effect of quiet power. It doesn't scream for attention. It commands respect by outcome. So many people burn out not because of the work, but because of the noise. The noise in their mind, the noise from people around them, the noise of needing to explain every move. When you cut that noise and return to silence, you get your energy back. You stop wasting words on people who don't get it. You stop defending things that don't need defense. You stop trying to prove things you already know are true. And you start moving in a way that's clean, focused, sharp.
That's how you stay grounded. When life gets unstable, you stay quiet and watch. You don't rush to be seen. You don't fight to be understood. You stay rooted in your truth and let the results speak. Because in the end, it's not what you say that defines you. It's what you build. It's not how loud you get when things go wrong. It's how steady you remain when the pressure rises. That calm, quiet strength, that's rare, and that's what creates real momentum. Every strong person you've ever looked up to, at some point, they had to learn how to stay quiet. Not because they were afraid to speak, but because they knew when it was worth it. They knew that power isn't in the noise. It's in the direction. It's in the consistency. It's in the discipline to keep building, even when no one sees it. And when the right time comes, they don't announce it. They show it. They act. They step forward with presence, not panic. You have to train yourself to stop reacting to things that don't matter. That's a discipline. When someone says something wrong about you, you don't jump in to correct it. When people misunderstand you, you don't need to interrupt their opinion. You pause. You remember what you're working for. You remind yourself that not every battle is yours to fight. That your time and energy are better spent on progress than on proving. That your next move means more than your current words. There's a kind of power that comes from knowing your worth and not having to prove it all the time. There's strength in staying silent when chaos surrounds you. That silence gives you time to breathe, to reflect, to plan. And once your next step is clear, you take it. You do it without hesitation. That move, because it's born in calm, backed by clarity, fueled by purpose, becomes unstoppable. If you want to grow in life, you have to stop letting noise push you around. You need to create space inside yourself where your emotions can settle before you act. That's what self-leadership looks like. That's what separates strong minds from scattered ones. And when you practice that consistently, you start making better moves. You don't waste time reacting. You don't let pressure push you off course. You take action from a place of calm and strategy. And those kinds of actions build results that last. You won't always feel like staying quiet. Sometimes you'll want to say everything. Sometimes your emotions will demand to be expressed. But that's the test. Can you stay still when it counts? Can you hold your ground when your feelings get loud? Can you lead yourself before you lead anyone else? That's where your power begins. Not in what you say, but in what you choose not to say. In what you choose to build instead of argue. In how you move when the world tries to shake you. So stay quiet when it makes sense. Let people think what they want. Let the noise pass. Don't give your energy to every opinion. Protect your peace. And when the time is right, make your move, not to prove but to progress. Move with clarity. Move with intent. Move with power. That's how you build something strong. That's how you take your life forward. And that's how you lead with real strength. Quiet, clear, unshaken, focused, powerful.
Number 6, slow down your mind so you can think clearly. Most people are thinking so fast, they can't even hear their own thoughts clearly. Their mind is racing before the day even begins. They wake up and their brain is already filled with worries, tasks, fears, pressure, regrets. And instead of calming down, they keep feeding it. They go from one thing to the next without ever stopping to breathe. That's why so many people feel overwhelmed, lost, and drained before the day is halfway done. It's not always the work that burns them out. It's the speed of their own mind. And when your mind is racing, your decisions become unclear. Your emotions become louder. Your focus gets weaker. Your clarity disappears. That's when mistakes happen. That's when you start reacting to everything instead of thinking it through. That's when your energy goes to the wrong places and your progress slows down. If you want to live with direction, you have to slow your thinking. You can't think straight when your mind is running in 5 different directions. You can't solve problems when every thought is interrupting the next one. The more speed you allow in your thinking, the more confused you become. You start mixing emotion with logic. You start rushing choices. You start speaking too soon. You start doing things that feel urgent but aren't really important. And over time, you lose control of your mental state. You feel anxious all the time. Not because life is always difficult, but because your mind never gets a break. The fastest way to regain your power is to slow your thinking. You need to pause before you speak. Pause before you decide. Pause before you react. Most of the damage people do to themselves doesn't come from a lack of ability. It comes from not slowing down long enough to think clearly. A conversation goes wrong, and they respond without thinking. A plan falls apart, and they jump into panic mode. A comment bothers them, and they start assuming the worst. All of that could be avoided with one habit: mental stillness. You have to learn how to pull back from the noise and return to your center. You need space between the event and your response. In that space, you find clarity. In that space, you gain control. Slowing your mind doesn't mean doing less. It means doing things with more presence. It means listening to what your thoughts are actually saying. It means separating the emotional noise from the actual message. It means giving yourself the time to decide what really matters and what's just a distraction. And the only way to do that is to build the habit of stopping your internal rush. Not everything needs an answer right now. Not every problem needs to be solved today. Not every emotion needs to turn into action. You have to train yourself to stay calm, even when your thoughts are speeding up. That's how you create peace inside, no matter what's going on around you. When your mind is clear, your energy is better. Your conversations are stronger. Your choices are smarter. Your time is used more wisely. But you can't have any of that if your brain is spinning all day. You're not meant to live in constant urgency. You're meant to move with focus. And that starts with learning how to step back. Take 2 minutes in silence before starting your day. Put your phone down and listen to your thoughts without distraction. Notice what your brain is focusing on. Are your thoughts solving problems or just creating new ones? Are they building your goals or breaking your peace? Most people never even ask these questions because their thinking is too fast to allow reflection. But when you slow down your mental pace, you start noticing patterns. You begin to see which thoughts are useful and which ones are just noise. You begin to understand what drains your energy and what refuels it. You begin to realize that half the things stressing you out don't even matter when you step away and look at them clearly. That shift doesn't happen in a rush. It happens in stillness. That's where your mental reset begins. You can't lead yourself if your thinking is chaotic. You can't communicate clearly if your thoughts are tangled. You can't feel emotionally grounded if your brain is running all the time. So the work starts inside. It starts with creating a routine that protects your mental space. Don't let every notification own your attention. Don't let every thought become a conversation in your head. Don't start your day reacting. Start it with intention. Start it with clarity. Start it with quiet. Even during the day, create small mental resets. Stop for 30 seconds and check in with your thinking. Ask yourself if your thoughts are helpful right now or just noise. Ask yourself if your current mindset is leading you toward progress or away from it. That habit of checking your thinking gives you back control. It reminds you that you don't have to accept every thought as truth. You can question it. You can change it. You can slow it down and shift it into something useful. That's how you begin to think clearly. Not by forcing your mind to shut up, but by slowing it down enough to understand it. You let the emotion pass. You let the fear speak without obeying it. You let the doubts show up without acting on them. And once you separate the thought from the action, you get to choose what happens next. That's where your real power comes from. Not from always being strong or confident, but from being steady, being clear, being present. When your thinking is clear, you become harder to break. You don't get pulled into every problem. You don't overreact to every situation. You don't need to rush into every decision. You move from a place of strength. You know where you're going, and you don't let your mind talk you out of it with fear or confusion. That kind of thinking doesn't just improve your mood, it improves your results. People will always try to push you. The world will always be noisy, but you don't have to let that noise live inside your mind. You get to choose your pace. You get to protect your focus. You get to create space inside your head, where you can actually think, not just react. That space changes everything. It gives you time to process your goals. It gives you space to learn from mistakes instead of repeating them. It gives you clarity before commitment. So train yourself to slow down your thoughts.
You don't need to think faster. You need to think better. You don't need more noise. You need more clarity. You don't need more answers. You need time to ask better questions. All of that starts with slowing the pace of your mind, not just once in a while, but every day. Especially when the pressure rises, especially when things feel urgent. That's when slowing down matters most. The strongest minds are not the ones that think the most. They're the ones that know when to pause, reflect, and act with purpose. That's how you stay in control. That's how you protect your peace. That's how you win. Not by rushing through life, but by thinking clearly and moving forward with steady focus. That kind of clarity isn't loud. It's quiet, it's calm, and it's powerful.
Number 7. Refuse to react fast when the world pushes you. Every day, something will try to pull a reaction out of you. Someone will speak carelessly. Something unexpected will happen. Life will throw a challenge right when you feel like you've got things under control. That's how the world works. It doesn't move at your pace. It doesn't wait for your readiness. And if you're not aware of what's happening inside you, you'll fall into the trap. You'll react too fast. You'll say something you shouldn't. You'll make a decision you weren't ready for. And later, when your emotions settle, you'll look back and wonder why you didn't wait just a little longer before responding. That's the danger of reacting too quickly. It often leads to outcomes you didn't plan and regrets you didn't expect. When the world pushes you, it wants your attention. It wants your energy. It wants you to jump into the chaos without thinking. But reacting fast doesn't fix anything. It just adds your noise to the noise that's already out there. It turns small problems into big ones. It turns misunderstanding into conflict. It turns your potential into stress. That's why slowing down is a skill. Refusing to react right away is a form of self-leadership. It means you know how to handle yourself when things feel uncertain. People often think silence or pausing is weakness, but it's the opposite. It takes real strength to hold yourself steady when you're being tested. It takes discipline to pause when you're under pressure. Anyone can snap. Anyone can lash out. Anyone can jump to conclusions. But to sit in the tension and not let it decide for you, that's power. That's what separates someone who's reactive from someone who's in control of their direction. You don't need to fix everything right away. Not every situation needs your reaction the moment it shows up. Most things that feel urgent are not as serious as they appear in the first few minutes. But when you react instantly, your mind doesn't get the chance to process. Your emotions lead. Your insecurities speak. Your stress decides. And that never ends well. But when you pause just long enough to think clearly, you give yourself a huge advantage. You give yourself a chance to see things for what they are, not just how they feel. When something upsets you, don't answer it immediately. Take a breath, step back, ask yourself what's really happening here. What's the smartest move, not the fastest one? That space between the trigger and the response is where your growth happens. That's the space where you build maturity, perspective, and control. And the more you practice using that space, the more power you'll feel over your own life. This doesn't mean you ignore problems. It means you stop rushing into them unprepared. You don't let the pressure of the moment force you into action you'll later regret. You choose to wait until you can respond with purpose. And that decision changes everything. It changes the tone of your conversations. It changes how people see you. It changes the way you move through difficulty. You'll never stop the world from testing you. You'll never stop people from being impatient. You'll never stop pressure from showing up. But you can stop giving it instant access to your decisions. You can stop letting it shape how you speak, think, and behave. You can stand your ground. You can own your timing. You can protect your peace. Think about all the times reacting fast made things worse. The argument that escalated because you didn't wait to understand. The task you rushed and had to redo. The message you sent too soon. The plan you canceled out of frustration. All of those moments had one thing in common. You didn't give yourself enough time to think. And that small habit of instant reaction has a cost. It costs you clarity. It costs you peace. It costs you progress. But you can change that starting today. You don't have to explain yourself the second someone challenges you. You don't have to defend every opinion. You don't have to give the world immediate access to your emotions. You can create space. You can decide your pace. You can choose when and how to respond based on what's right for you, not what's being pushed on you. You are allowed to say, I need a minute. You're allowed to pause. You're allowed to gather your thoughts. That's not avoidance. That's smart.
That's what people who lead themselves do. They understand that the quality of their decisions affects everything they touch. Relationships, work, health, reputation, future. So they don't treat decisions lightly. They don't hand over that control to emotions, to opinions, to urgency. They stay grounded, and they move only when they're ready. This approach will make you stand out. In a world addicted to speed, you become powerful by slowing down. When others panic, you stay calm. When others speak out of anger, you hold your voice. When others chase attention, you remain focused on action. That contrast makes people respect you, not because you talk the most, but because your presence speaks without needing to explain. Every time you choose not to react instantly, you strengthen a different part of yourself. You teach your mind to prioritize thinking over emotion. You teach your body to stay calm under pressure. You build a habit of choosing wisely, even when everything tells you to rush. And those small decisions build a solid foundation. Over time, people start to notice you don't break easily, that you don't move off course just because things get tough, that your pace is steady and your moves are intentional. You start becoming someone others trust, someone who can handle responsibility without falling apart, someone who doesn't lose direction every time the world throws a curveball. That kind of inner strength doesn't come from reacting fast. It comes from responding slowly, with clarity and purpose. There's always going to be pressure, deadlines, arguments, disappointments, change. That's not going anywhere. But you don't have to absorb it all. You don't have to match the chaos. You can protect your space by choosing your response wisely. You can create a life that runs on your standards, not the pressure of the world. You'll have moments where everything inside you wants to react. That's natural. You're human. But that's also the opportunity to choose better, to break the cycle, to stay grounded when everything feels shaky, to hold your power when someone tries to take it, to remain steady when life throws the unexpected. That kind of power doesn't come from reacting fast. It comes from discipline. It comes from patience. It comes from knowing who you are and not letting anything outside of you dictate how you move. That's how you stay in control, not by trying to control the world, but by refusing to let it control your reactions. So when the world pushes you, don't push back right away. Stand still, think deeply, choose wisely. Your next move doesn't need to be rushed. It needs to be right. And when it is, it won't just feel better. It will change everything. Because that's how real leaders operate. They don't rush. They don't panic. They don't react to pressure. They respond with power, with purpose, and with clarity. And that's exactly how you win.
Number 8. Decide how you feel before emotions decide for you. Every day you wake up, something will try to shape your mood before you even open your eyes. It could be a thought from yesterday. It could be a problem waiting for you. It could be stress, fear, tiredness, or even someone's attitude. And if you don't take control of how you want to feel, your emotions will take control for you. They'll pick your attitude. They'll shape your behavior. They'll decide your energy, your tone, your actions. And the worst part is, they won't ask for permission. That's why the smartest thing you can do at the start of each day and in every difficult moment is to decide clearly and consciously how you want to feel and who you want to be before your environment decides it for you. This doesn't mean you fake happiness. It means you lead your emotions instead of letting them lead you. Most people don't realize that emotions are fast. They hit you without warning. And if you're not prepared, you'll go along with whatever shows up first. Maybe it's anger. Maybe it's stress. Maybe it's frustration. And the problem is, once it takes over, your thinking shifts. You start looking at the world through that emotion. You start assuming, reacting, assuming again. Now your whole day is being run by a feeling you didn't even choose. If you don't decide how you feel, life will decide for you. And life isn't always gentle. Life is pressure. Life is noise. Life is full of situations that test your patience, your peace, your strength. If you let those situations shape your mood, then your mood will be inconsistent and your results will follow. But if you decide your state of mind in advance, if you build the habit of checking in with yourself and leading your emotional state, then no matter what happens outside, you stay steady inside. And that kind of inner stability is what separates people who break from people who lead. You are allowed to feel everything.
You are allowed to be human. You don't need to suppress anything. But there's a difference between feeling something and being controlled by it. Just because anger shows up doesn't mean you speak through it. Just because fear whispers something doesn't mean you listen to it. Just because sadness rises doesn't mean it gets to run the day. You acknowledge it, but you still choose. That's what emotional responsibility looks like. You don't deny the feeling, but you don't surrender to it either. You take 5 seconds to stop and ask yourself, what state of mind will serve me right now? That question gives you power, because now you're not reacting, you're responding. You're not letting emotion decide your tone, your focus, your behavior. You're choosing how to lead the moment. And leadership starts with self-leadership. If you can't lead your own emotional state, you'll always be at the mercy of your circumstances. One conversation will throw you off. One delay will ruin your day. One mistake will shift your whole attitude. That's not how you build progress. That's how you stay stuck in emotional loops that repeat over and over again. The real challenge is not avoiding emotion. It's building awareness. Most people don't even realize when their emotions take over. They speak without thinking. They act without direction. They pull back when they should move forward. They escalate when they should stay calm. And all of it starts with a simple moment they didn't catch. A moment where they could have taken a breath, made a decision, and led themselves, but they didn't. So the emotion led instead. And once that happens often enough, it becomes a pattern. You have to break that pattern by becoming more intentional. You have to stop handing over your day to emotions that don't serve you. When you feel the shift, when you notice yourself slipping into a state that lowers your clarity or energy, pause. Don't move until you've asked yourself who you want to be in this situation. Do you want to be calm, focused, present, patient? Then make a conscious decision to show up that way. Even if you don't feel like it yet, that one decision can redirect your entire day. You won't always get it right. You'll still have moments where emotion gets ahead of you. That's okay. The point isn't to be perfect. The point is to be aware and consistent. The more you practice choosing your state, the more natural it becomes. Eventually, you won't have to force it. It'll become your normal. You'll start your day with intention, not tension. You'll move through situations with focus, not frustration. You'll respond to problems with clarity, not panic. And that shift will affect everything. Your work, your relationships, your goals, your peace of mind. When you lead your emotional state, you become harder to shake. You don't get pulled into every conflict. You don't overreact to small things. You don't let temporary feelings ruin permanent progress. And the people around you notice. They feel safer around you. They trust your decisions. They follow your lead, because you're not all over the place. You're consistent. You're grounded. You're stable. And stability is what people crave, especially in a world that's constantly uncertain. There's nothing soft about choosing your emotional state. It's not weakness. It's mental discipline. It's emotional strength. It's the ability to step into your day with a clear head when everything around you feels unclear. That's what strong minds do. They don't depend on perfect circumstances to feel good. They create a strong internal foundation that doesn't collapse under pressure. And that foundation is built with small decisions. Decisions like, I'm gonna stay calm, even though this situation is frustrating. Or I'm gonna stay focused, even though I'm tired. Or I'm gonna lead this moment, instead of reacting to it. This mindset won't make you emotionless. It'll make you more connected to what you feel, while still staying in control of what you do. That's emotional intelligence. That's growth. And it's something you can practice every single day. Before a meeting, before a conversation, before a task, before you walk into the next room, stop and ask, what do I want to feel right now? And what emotion will help me move forward? Then you lead yourself into that state. You are not your emotions. You are the one who decides what to do with them. You are the one who sets the tone for your day. You are the one who gets to say, I'm not gonna let this feeling choose for me. And the more you say that, the more you build a life that reflects your highest intentions, not your lowest moods. So decide early, decide often, decide with purpose. Emotions are strong, but they're not in charge. You are. Let them speak, but don't let them lead. Let them show up, but don't let them stay without your permission. Take that responsibility seriously. It will change how you live, how you think, how you lead. And it starts with one decision. Decide how you feel before your emotions decide for you.
Number 9. Show strength by staying calm when it gets ugly. The real test of your strength doesn't show up when things are smooth. It shows up when life gets messy, when people switch up, when plans fall apart, when emotions run high, when nothing makes sense. That's when you find out if you're truly strong. Because anyone can look calm when everything is working. But it takes real discipline to stay grounded when everything around you feels unstable. Strength isn't about how loud you can shout. It's about how well you can stay calm when you feel like exploding. It's about being able to think straight when your emotions want to take over. That's the kind of strength that keeps your life from falling apart. When everything else around you is falling apart, staying calm doesn't mean you don't care. It doesn't mean you're numb. It means you've learned how to protect your mind before the chaos gets inside. It means you know how to hold your peace in situations that try to steal it. Because the truth is, anyone can react. Anyone can lose control. But when things get ugly, and you choose not to match that energy, you take the power back. That kind of control is rare. Most people break under pressure. They panic. They argue. They blame. They try to force control by making noise. But you don't need to be louder to be stronger. You need to be wiser. When situations get difficult, emotions come fast. Frustration, fear, disappointment. They all show up without warning. And if you haven't trained yourself to handle them, they'll run your behavior. They'll push you into saying things you'll regret. They'll drive you to make decisions that come from weakness, not clarity. But the person who stays calm when it's ugly, that's the person who wins in the long run. Because they're not reacting from panic. They're moving from purpose. They're not being pulled in different directions. They're focused on what matters. And that focus keeps them from being distracted by things that don't deserve their attention. You don't have to prove yourself in every tough moment. You don't have to answer every insult. You don't have to defend your worth when someone disrespects you. You can show strength by staying calm, by choosing peace, by not letting the situation shape your energy. The moment you match their chaos, you lose your control. You let someone else drag you down to their level. But when you hold steady, when you choose to breathe before you speak, when you pause before you act, you shift the power dynamic. Now you're the one in control, not of the situation, but of yourself. And self-control is the highest form of strength. Sometimes the ugliest situations are the ones that reveal who you are becoming. You'll be tempted to react, to prove your point, to show you're not weak. But true strength doesn't need to prove anything. It doesn't need to fight for attention. It doesn't beg to be understood. It remains composed because it knows its value. It knows its mission. It knows that not everything needs a response. Not every battle is worth entering. Some fights only pull you away from your purpose. Some reactions only delay your progress. And when you've worked hard to grow, you can't afford to keep letting moments of chaos undo everything you've built. It takes training to stay calm when things get ugly. You don't wake up one day with that kind of strength. It's developed. It's built through practice. It's built through experience. Every time you stay calm in a tough moment, you're training your mind to respond better next time. You're teaching your body to breathe instead of tighten. You're conditioning yourself to be the person who stays steady when others fall apart. That habit becomes your edge. While other people spend energy reacting, you use your energy to stay in control. And over time, that control leads to better decisions, better relationships, and better results. People will push you. Life will challenge you. And yes, it's going to get messy sometimes. But when you choose calm over chaos, you protect your peace. You create space to think clearly. You stop yourself from making emotional choices that could hurt you later. You learn how to carry yourself in any room, in any conflict, in any situation without losing yourself. And that's what leadership looks like. Not leading others, leading yourself, leading your emotions, leading your reactions, leading your energy. That's the kind of strength that builds respect. Not just in others, but in yourself. You start to feel proud of how you handled things. You stop replaying conversations in your head, wishing you had done it differently.
You walk away knowing you stayed in control, knowing you didn't let the ugly moment turn you into someone you're not. That's growth. That's maturity. That's emotional strength. And the more you live that way, the more unshakable you become. The world doesn't stop being messy, but you stop letting it get to you the same way. You start navigating it differently. Not with fear, but with awareness. Not with panic, but with presence. Not with noise, but with quiet confidence. Your calmness in the middle of tension sends a message to everyone around you. It says, I'm not here to lose control. I'm here to lead myself first. It says, I don't need to match the energy. I set the tone. And that kind of presence changes the dynamic of every room you walk into. People feel it. They notice it. They may not always say it, but they respect it. Because in a world that's constantly reactive, calm people are rare. They're respected. They're remembered. But staying calm isn't about being passive. It's about being selective. You choose where your energy goes. You protect your space. You understand that strength isn't about dominating. It's about staying rooted. It's about showing up with intention, even when everything around you feels unpredictable. And you keep doing it, not just once, but again and again, until it becomes who you are. Not someone who avoids problems, but someone who handles them without losing control. So the next time things get ugly, remember your job isn't to fight everything. Your job isn't to match the mood. Your job is to stay centered, stay sharp, stay calm. Let your strength show through how you carry yourself, through your patience, through your restraint, through your ability to protect your energy. When the world tries to pull it in every direction, that's how you win. That's how you grow. That's how you become the kind of person others trust and respect. Not because you talk big, but because you stay calm, especially when everything else falls apart. And that's a strength no one can take from you.
Number 10. Fix your focus and take charge of your day. Most people wake up and hand their day over to everything except themselves. They check their phone before they check their mind. They scroll before they stretch. They read messages before they even ask themselves how they want to feel. And the problem with that? It splits your focus before you've even taken control. Now your mind is chasing notifications. Your energy is reacting to other people's agendas, and your priorities get buried under distractions. That's how your day runs you, when you don't fix your focus first. If you want to take charge of your life, it has to start with taking charge of your day. And that begins the moment you wake up. You have to decide what matters. You have to decide what deserves your energy. And you have to protect your attention, like your results depend on it, because they do. If you don't direct your mind, it will go in every direction. It will follow anything that feels urgent. It will jump from thought to thought, task to task, screen to screen. And by the time you reach noon, you'll feel exhausted, but you won't feel accomplished. That's what happens when your focus is scattered. You stay busy, but not productive. You do a lot, but finish little. You react all day long, but don't move forward. Fixing your focus is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters without letting everything else get in the way. It's about being intentional with your thoughts, your time, and your energy. You don't need 100 priorities today. You need a few things that actually matter. Pick the one thing that if you completed it, would move your life forward. Then lock in. Shut out the noise. Say no to the distractions that want to steal your time. Don't wait for motivation. Just begin. Because focus isn't a mood, it's a choice. And if you keep waiting to feel ready, the day will slip away while your life stands still. The people who win are not the ones who always feel inspired. They're the ones who stay focused, even when they're not. They know that clarity creates momentum, and momentum builds results. Taking charge of your day means you stop blaming your environment for your lack of progress. It means you stop giving away your attention to things that don't align with your values. It means you take personal responsibility for how you show up, mentally, emotionally, physically. No one is going to manage your time for you. No one is going to remove the distractions. No one is going to protect your calendar. That's on you. And every time you choose to own that, you take back control. You start moving with purpose. You stop reacting. You start deciding. Your time is too valuable to waste on things that don't add anything to your life. Every minute you give to something meaningless is a minute you don't get back. That's not something to take lightly, because time is the only resource you can't earn more of. You can get more money, you can make new connections, you can build new skills, but you can't create more time. So treat it with respect. Don't let little distractions take big chunks of your life. Don't let short-term comfort steal long-term growth. Be the one who uses time wisely, not the one who watches it disappear. You have to be honest with yourself about where your focus goes. If you're constantly switching between tasks, checking your phone every few minutes, saying yes to things you don't believe in, you're not focused, you're scattered. And that's not a mindset that leads to achievement. You can't reach your goals if your mind is constantly being pulled away from them. Focus is about alignment. It's about keeping your thoughts, actions, and priorities in sync. And once you fix that alignment, everything feels clearer. You don't waste time wondering what to do next. You know, you've already decided. That's what it means to take charge of your day. You set your targets before the world sets them for you. You choose your mood before your phone decides it. You define success in your own terms and move in that direction. One focused action at a time. And yes, there will be interruptions. There will be unexpected problems. There will be noise. But when your focus is locked in, those things don't pull you off course. You handle them, then return to your path. Because your attention is fixed. Your mind is clear. Your goals are real. This kind of focus is not automatic. You have to train it. You have to remove the habits that break it. You have to stop feeding your distractions. You have to build routines that strengthen your clarity. Start small. Block out time for deep work. Keep your environment clean. Silence things that don't serve your growth. Review your goals daily. Reflect on where your energy is going. These little habits done consistently rebuild your focus. They teach your brain how to stay with something long enough to make real progress. And when you live like that, you stop drifting and start building. People around you may not understand your focus. They might want you to respond faster, join more conversations, say yes to more things. But you don't owe your attention to everyone. You owe it to what matters most to you. And once you get clear on that, it becomes easier to say no without guilt. Not because you're rude, but because you respect your direction. You understand that every distraction has a cost. And if you say yes to everything, you won't have the time or energy left for what really matters. Taking charge of your day also means being disciplined with your thoughts. Don't let doubt run your mind. Don't let negative self-talk distract you from what you're capable of. Don't allow one bad moment to define your entire day. Stay sharp, stay focused, stay on task. Remind yourself why you're doing what you're doing. Anchor yourself in your mission. Because when your purpose is clear, distractions lose their power. You don't get pulled off track because you're rooted in something real. You are responsible for what your day becomes. It's not luck. It's not timing. It's not just about circumstances. It's about what you choose to focus on, what you choose to give your energy to, and what you refuse to let in. Fix your focus, and your day becomes something you shape, not something that just happens to you. And when you stack enough focused days together, you build a life that reflects your effort, not your excuses. So take your attention seriously. Guard it. Use it with care. Start your day with clarity. Know what matters. Keep your mind on what moves you forward. Don't wait for peace. Create it through focus. Don't wait for time. Make it by managing your energy. Don't let the day pass by in pieces. Own it. Build it. Lead it. That's how you take charge of your life, by learning how to fix your focus and refusing to give it away to anything that doesn't deserve it. That's how progress is made. That's how results show up. That's how winners operate. With clarity, with control, with focused energy that doesn't fade when life gets noisy. You make your day work for you, not the other way around. If there's one thing to take with you today, it's this: when you stay calm, you stay in charge. And when you're in charge, you make smarter moves, protect your peace, and take your life forward with purpose. The world will keep testing you. Pressure won't stop, but the person who stays calm under pressure, who thinks clearly, and acts with control, that's the person who wins long term. So don't hand your power to stress, to anger, or to panic. Hold it. Use it. Lead yourself.
Because your future is built in those moments, when it would have been easy to lose control, but you didn't. If this spoke to you, come back to it when life feels heavy. Watch it again when you need to reset. And if you're serious about taking charge of your life, calmly, clearly, and powerfully, stick around. There's more coming, and you don't want to miss it.